The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 Palmetto Championship DraftKings picks in preview. If you want to get the best deal in the biz, fantasynational.com/Mayo. Get you 20% off all forms of memberships. But if you just want to dip your toe into the water to get ready for the US Open, I highly suggest you go to fantasynational.com/Mayo on Wednesday. That way, if you get a weekly membership, it's super cheap for one thing, but you get Wednesday to Wednesday, you can build all your lineups, do all your research, generate them all, use the custom stat model for Palmetto. Then you have 7 full days of action to get ready for the US Open before that starts as well. Plus all the live stats for Palmetto this week, which I assume has Shot Tracker. Probably shouldn't say that it does because I actually have no idea. Maybe my guest, Geoff Ulrich, knows about that. I would assume they have Shot Tracker, right?
I mean, I'm not making any assumptions this week either, Pat. I assume it's the only PGA event. Usually the ones we don't get the Shot Tracker at are like the secondary ones, but who knows, man? I mean, this thing it's brand new. It's at a new course. Everyone's withdrawn, so we've got like random people from the 1980s in the event. Anything could happen this week, and it wouldn't surprise me. But let's hope there's shot link, because that might be the only thing that makes this event, really palatable just from a watching and viewing perspective. So
I want to remind everyone out there to smash the like button, sub to Mayo Media Network, and in the comment section, tell me your 2 favorite plays in the $6,000 range. Now, usually the $6,000 range has a few gems in there, and I'm sure they do this week as well, but who are they? Who could say with a field this week? I don't even know. You say we don't normally get Shot Tracker for the alternate events. I mean, you take 5 guys out of this field, and this tournament is worse than like Corrales.
Yeah, no, it's a Canadian tour event. You take the top 5 guys out. This is basically the Puerto Rico Open with Brooks and Dustin right now. So it's kind of fun from that perspective, I guess, a little bit different. But yeah, man, I mean, the 6K range, like you can really, you can throw some darts in there for sure this week. So I don't know. I like going through these kind of scrubby events, whatever you want to call them. But it does feel like like you said, an alternate event, but just with 2 of the best players in the world in attendance. So
I'm giving away $33 to a whole bunch of people. I'll PayPal you the cash. You can use it for whatever you want. Hopefully nothing illicit, but after I send it, what do I know? That's all I can do. So if you leave a 5-star review, subscribe first, 5-star review, something nice, Twitter handle and email address on that review on Apple Podcasts for daily fantasy sports picks and bets, The Mix. I'm going to start drawing those out. I'll give away the winners on Wednesday. And yeah, you can win $33. I mean, that'd probably cover all you really want to play on DraftKings this week anyway. Well, you can play in the Pat Mayo Experience DraftKings Open. You can max that. That's $45. So, you're almost all of the way there to maxing out my tournament, which still is the best one on DraftKings. There's no rake, so you may as well fill it now. If we fill this one early, we're probably going to get a full $100K guaranteed of rake-free money for the US Open. So there's incentive enough to actually, do some research this week and throw some lineups in. But yeah, daily fantasy sports picks and bets, The Mix, full French Open coverage, full Euro coverage coming up. My Wednesday cheat sheet DraftKings review for all PGA events is going to be up there as well. It's about 10 minutes long. The Euro Pick Show appears on that feed. All short-form content from Mayo Media Network appears on that one podcast feed. You can find that in the description right now. Go subscribe, please, and you can find all the videos, obviously, up on Mayo Media Network's YouTube channel. I'd talk about the course with you, but I feel like we all think the same thing, and it might not be that thing. You know what I mean?
No, I don't actually. What thing are you thinking about?
Well, I'm just saying that there's like 2 articles about this course, and everyone has read the same 2 articles. So everyone just thinks the course plays a certain way, but it might not actually play that way.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no exactly. We don't have a bunch of experience, or we haven't seen the course played differently. We've all just read a couple of anecdotes about the course, and we think it's going to play a certain way. I mean, from what we've seen, it's an Australian sand belt design. It's a little bit more open in design, and there's some waste areas. And I've seen people compare it to Pinehurst number 2. That's all fine and good. I mean, this thing could play super easy. There's some rain in the forecast. It could play hard too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these greens are supposedly fast. If it's anything like Pinehurst number 2, it's going to be tough. But it's also like the first time it's hosting a PGA Championship, and this course, was created in 2018. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play. I would assume that it's probably going to play on the easier side because we've seen newer courses, TPC Craig Ranch, Trinity Forest. They just tend to be just a little bit easier their first time on tour. I would probably lean that direction, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm some sort of expert here. I really don't know that much.
Stephen Hennessy from Golf Digest, friend of the show, Stephen Hennessy, did a full review of the course that's up on golfdigest.com right now if you want to go read through that. In my newsletter this week, I'll link all of the relevant columns that I've read in case you can pick up something out of that maybe I didn't, or you just want to do some more reading on the course. The newsletter is free to join. It's in the comment section and description of the video and podcast. And plus, there's always like promos in there and everything like that as well. So you might want to take advantage of some of the free money that's offered to people. I mean, you just hit up the email in the newsletter. Maybe you can get your hands on some of that free money just to go and bet. You'll get some free money to go do that with. So you probably want to go check that out. Let's go to the 10K. You mentioned the two guys. It's Brooks and it's Dustin. They're the two highest priced players in the field, 11-4 and 11-1. Then you got Fitz and Hatton at 10-4 and 10-2. I was talking with Feinberg on Monday's show about who I wanted to bet, and I talked about the guys down the list. Am I going to go to the top? As you can see, it has Hatton at 12-1 right now in the betting markets. I found him at 16-1, and I bet Tyrrell Hatton to win. I'm going to guess he's going to be like 40% owned this week.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to get some really big ownerships outside of Fitzpatrick. I assume DJ Brooks and Hatton, and probably you could throw English in there, right? Under 10K, I'm sure that'll just appeal to people. But in terms of what you think of the top group, I mean, I think from betting and from DFS, just taking the discount on Hatton here, sure, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, we talked about we don't know how the course is going to play, but a lot of people will be hammering home the length, and it's a long par 71. I really don't think length is going to be that big a factor this week. It is a longer course, but it's got wider fairways. It seems like it's going to have a lot of roll. We've seen longer courses be, really not just play that long on the PGA before. And quite frankly, some of them can be easier. And this looks like it's going to have a little bit of that mixed in. So I like Hatton, all things considered. I like that style of golfer this week. I will say, in terms of betting, you can get Harris English at a lot of spots at like almost double Tyrrell Hatton. And that's kind of where I went. But Hatton is definitely the better player of the two. And that's coming from a Harris English fanboy. So I definitely don't hate that. And I think for DFS, a lot of people will either, if they're not starting with Brooks and Dustin, they're almost certainly starting with Tyrrell Hatton this week. So yeah, he's going to be popular, but I do like the setup for him. Like I said, I kind of like that style of golfer over just a pure, bomber, because I really don't think this golf course is necessarily going to just be like the bomb and gouge kind of type. It's more just, everyone's going to be hitting fairways, and then it's kind of what you do from there on in. And that's kind of where Hatton's bread and butter is. So
if it rains and we see that in the forecast, I can then see why you would switch to bombers. If you're not going to get like amazing roll off the tee and be able to even hit your long irons like Matthew Fitzpatrick style, like land it 30 yards in front of the green and let it roll up onto the green complex. It's a very flat course as well, hence why there's so much roll and there's no rough. So if you can shot shape it correctly, there's a lot of different avenues available to you in order to hit your drives or even your approaches, and even around the green game where you could do the Justin Rose take a hybrid, or if you wanted to, instead of putting the ball up in the air. But if it gets super wet, and it does say that there's thunderstorms, but that doesn't always mean there's going to be a ton of rain. It might rain for like 6 minutes, and then it goes back to being like 85 degrees, and then it's like it never happened at all. But if somehow it gets damp, then I could see where the bombers have a significant advantage at a course this long.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, you can kind of go back to the Byron Nelson, and, obviously KH Lee isn't really a bomber, but Sam Burns was up there. He kind of just took the course apart as well that week. And I completely agree. If it's a little bit wetter, it's going to heighten the chances for someone like DJ or Brooks to just dismantle the course. And it might not even be one of those two guys. It might be like a Keith Mitchell or someone like that. Definitely, you can pay attention, but I would suggest, I don't think it's going to get super damp. Like you said, it's like 90 degrees there. It's always hot and humid. And the thunderstorms, I kind of worried about that too at the start, because you see all the rain and like the cloudy things on the forecast, but then you're like, it's only like a 40% chance of precipitation. It's just passing thunderstorms. it's probably going to rain for 10 minutes and go away. And, all things considered, from what I've read as well, that happens a lot. And this course is probably just going to play pretty fast regardless. So I think that you can consider most styles. Like I said, I still think that someone like Hatton's gonna be just fine here this week.
Yeah, so Hatton is my favorite above $10,000, then DJ, then Fitz, then Brooks. This feels like and I'm going to say this, and then Brooks is going to win by 8,000 shots because we know that he can. Just feels like Brooks is going to go out there, hit some shots, and head off to Torrey Pines.
That is exactly how I feel about Brooks. But I mean, with the complete acknowledgement, like you said, that if the knee is feeling good and he starts off well and he shoots maybe 4 or 5 under in the first round, he'll probably just keep rolling and just try and blitz this course. We've seen him play very well the week before majors in a lot of spots. I believe he won the FedEx St. Jude one year. I know he had.
No, Jeffrey, I'm going to stop you there. He was going to win the FedEx St. Jude last year, and then he lost to Justin Thomas.
Didn't he win it, though, the year before that?
Yeah, but I don't think it was before a major then.
You are correct. That is correct. It wasn't before the major. So thank you for correcting me. He did finish second at the Byron Nelson a couple of years ago. So he does have a pretty good track record before majors. So again, I'm not necessarily touting him as a bet or anything, but there's definitely the possibility. I would rank them pretty much exactly the same way you ranked them. I really like picking between Dustin and Brooks. I'll take Dustin this week. South Carolina, there's just got to be more urgency for Dustin Johnson right now. I mean, the dude hasn't been in the heat of battle in 6 starts. He's still hitting it well off the tee. It's just a matter of getting the approach game and putter sharp again. And I mean, I don't even really remember the last time Dustin played bad for 6 events in a row. Do you? I mean, this just feels like the longest slump of his life. So fully expecting him to put in a decent week here. And I think there's a little less risk with him, at least because there's just got to be a little bit more urgency in that camp right now.
I could see that as well. I don't know how many lineups I'm going to end up playing this week, but I could see myself going completely full fade on Dustin, Brooks, and Fitz and just starting my teams with Hatton just for the savings, because I don't know how far down this list I really want to go. That, or I'll play 150 lineups and just pepper the $6,000 region and just hope to get lucky with someone. I don't know if this is a good week to invest less because I feel uncomfortable about it, but I also know that everyone feels uncomfortable about it. So maybe it's a week to press up a little bit. Whatever the contrarian strategy is this week is probably the best way to go about things, because if it's a course and no one really knows how it plays, but there's consensus around 5 guys, that's never usually a good thing.
No, and legitimately, I mean, as we go through the price points here, that word uncomfortable, when we're talking about pivots off of the sort of obvious plays, it's going to become super, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about potential pivots, and we're just going to hate them all because they're terrible. But that's the kind of field we have. And, I do think there's a little bit more of an edge in these weeks, especially for GPPs to throw more in. And again, everyone's sitting at the start of the week. Well, I don't really feel like doing that, but you definitely, I like diving into these weeks for that reason. So I'm kind of with you. I mean, I definitely would not have a problem fading the top 2 guys necessarily, but I will definitely get exposure to Dustin Johnson as well, because I think even with a top 5 in this field or a top 10, he could still end up in the winning lineup, especially if we get some kind of, again, crazy KH winner who's 7K or something like that. So, which could definitely happen in an event like this. So,
looking at the 9K level, your guy, Harris English, kicks it off at 9.9. It goes all the way down through my guy, Garrick Higo, who I don't know if he's overpriced or not. He's number 52 player in the world. He's ranked far higher than Patton Kazire is. So, I mean, he's 9,100. So you got English, Im, Fleetwood, Poulter, Kazire, Higo, Noren, Mitchell. If I didn't play Hatton, I don't know who from this range I actually like. I could see playing none of these guys, but I could see playing a Sungjae, Fleetwood, Poulter lineup, just because I don't think that people are going to be on those guys whatsoever. And I think that's why ownership this week might be so much more important than other weeks, especially if there are consensus plays. That's why the Wednesday show, for me at least, I think is going to be the most valuable one that I do, because I even went through it last week on the show. I said, if you wanted to get risky and make actual pivots last week, the 2 guys to use are Scheffler and Max Homa. I didn't use them, obviously, but those turned out to be the guys, but they were just so glaring versus everyone else. They were like 5 times lower owned than the next lowest guy right around them. It's like, oh yeah, of course those guys finish inside the top 15, and one comes third, one comes like 11th. So this week when I'm looking at it, I don't know how many people are using Higo, but I can't imagine that many people are going to use Fleetwood. He went from like Xander chalk every single week. Him, Finau, and Xander were the 3 guys everyone used every week. Now no one wants to play him anymore?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to play him
Me
either,
neither,
but you're it's like we said, we know that there's going to be uncomfortable decisions here. And the 9K range is one where I look at, and I mean, I don't have a problem. This is part of the reason why I don't have a problem starting with Dustin Johnson, because I don't really have a problem fading everyone under Harris English to 9K. But, you know, the ownership thing is definitely going to come into play. I mean, Fleetwood, Sungjae, you're going to have hard times like finding players that are under 10% owned. And if one of them do come in, I mean, these are quality players, right? So I would probably side with Fleetwood here. I won't even say that. I'm just going to side with the lowest owned guy between Fleetwood and him, because I don't want to play either one of them. And if one of them comes in like 5% less than the guy in projections, I'll probably just play that person. Neither one of them trending well with their ball striking right now. Im at least is consistent off the tee, and he is a better putter on Bermuda grass. So maybe that does give him like a bit of a jolt just in terms of like potential upside. But I don't know. Both players just kind of doing the same thing right now, which is not very much, but they're going to come in at lower ownership. So yeah, absolutely. In a field like this with 2 top guys focused on the US Open next week, there's a potential one of them breaks out here for sure.
Is Patton Kizzire a complete trap at $9,100? Because I didn't think that people would be like, oh, Patton Kizzire, $9,100. No way. But it feels like people want to be on Patton Kizzire.
Yeah, I think that, you know, people in this field, like Kizzire, I mean, his top 5s were only a couple events back. He was gaining strokes on approach. People are more lenient with players like Kizzire. This, okay, well, he missed the cut. It wasn't that big a deal. I don't think that many people played him last week either. I can't remember what his ownership was. So I don't think it was a huge chalk bust. And you just look at the players around him, right? Like, you know, Poulter, he's playing well, but people really don't want to play a 45-year-old that's 9,200. And then Garrett Higo, who most people, you know, will learn about this week, I'm sure, from people like us, who's a very, very quality player, but still aren't really going to trust, considering it's like his second ever PGA Tour start.
Oh, you better believe I'm playing Higo at $9,000. I'm in on.
Oh, I'm all about it too. If anything, it feels like he's under-owned. He's like the 50th player in the world right now. So, I think Kizzire will be owned in this range. I think he'll be more popular than Poulter and Higo for sure. I think Noren will get some ownership for the same reason. Again, these are players, they make cuts. People feel comfortable playing them. And there's just like, again, the uncomfortable pivot is just like the entire theme of this week. People may even just like Higo. People who like Higo might feel more uncomfortable playing him, right? So yeah, I think Kizzire will be the chalk in that range.
Yeah, I think that it'll go Kizzire, then Harris English is the top 2 guys in the 9K range. And I am perfectly fine with fading both of them. Do you know who's Anderkirst this week, by the way?
Oh, no.
Guess. Take a guess.
Is it Harris English?
It's Harris English.
Oh, I mean, I really like Harris this week, and that's unfortunate to hear, because the dude's from this part of the earth. He's played well at Seaside, which is another Fazio design. It's, you know, I feel like it's a good setup for a guy like Harris English. He can get really hot around the greens and stuff too. But yeah, he's going to be popular. Absolutely. I still kind of slightly prefer him over Haddon. Does suck that he's Anderkirst now though. So I guess factor that into your models, you know, strokes gained cursed or whatever. So yeah, he'll get some ownership, but I still like Harris English. I would put him at the top of this range for me. You know, a guy like Kizzire would be a fade. And I would much prefer trying to get up to one of those lower owned guys over, like, you know, I just don't want to be on the chalky players in this range, basically.
Yeah, I'll take Higo. I'll take Higo. I'll probably take, like you said, whoever is lower owned between Fleetwood and Im. Maybe they're both lower owned. I split up the shares because I can't make a decision. And I'll think about Poulter, because Poulter, like you mentioned, is actually playing pretty well. But it's Higo for sure. $8,000 range. It's going to be fun on DraftKings when you see all the guys that are like out this week, because they didn't quite get everyone. Actually, no, Danny Willett is $7,900. He is out for this event, by the way. After I bet him on Monday's show, both Jeff and I, we were so fired up for Danny Willett, and now he withdrew from this tournament. So that's always a lot of fun. In the 8Ks, you got Noren, Mitchell, Kisner, Glover, Varner, Sneds, Vegas, Knox, CT, Panimal, Doc Redman, and Scott Stallings. The ones I have interest in are Keith Mitchell, Lucas Glover, weirdly, Scott Stallings, who I know no one is going to use. I just like Scott Stallings.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Stallings is like the guy you point to this week. It's like Scott Stallings is AK. That's what kind of event we have, right? But we've seen him get in some decent form before. I mean, he was third like 2 events back at, again, another longer golf course. So those are the type of pivots you make. I mean, you look at that range. I'm sure there's going to be a couple chalky guys. Like Vegas will probably get a bunch of ownership again because he's been making cuts. You know, we could talk about a couple guys under him, but like no one's using Scott Stallings at AK.
You know what? Maybe they are, and we just have a bad read on this early in the week. I would guess, if it was me, that people are going to use Glover, Varner, and Snedeker. Those would be the 3 highest owned guys.
Absolutely. And look, I like all 3. I mean, I think Snedeker is a good fit for this course, just the way it plays. He's sneaky around the greens. He's creative. He can do all that stuff. Like I said, I'm not like I don't think length is going to be a huge deal, assuming the course doesn't get super damp. So I'm kind of in on Brad Snedeker. Like I like it. I really like Harold Varner. I bet him this week at 50-1. Maybe I'm just a sucker, but I bet him at the Colonial. He does seem to be playing better. He's a South Carolina guy. So we'll follow that narrative. And hey, if this is an Australian Sandbelt course, Pat, well, he's got to win in Australia. So I'm playing that narrative regardless of how stupid it is. But I do like Varner. He's been playing better. I like all 3 of those guys. At the same time, they will be probably the 3 most popular players in the range, if we're being honest. Kisner's interesting. I mean, he finally made a cut. He's from South Carolina. I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership. I don't mind playing Kevin Kisner on like a Bermuda grass course like this, weaker field, where he's definitely going to be going after points considering how bad his season has been.
Yeah, he missed 5 straight cuts. Then he made the cut at Charles Schwab, and he still lost 6.5 strokes on approach. That's not great news. He had to putt.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, he had to chip and putt his way to a cut. That's never a position you really want to be in. So I'm probably out on him. I was thinking the same thing you did with Varner in the Aussie Open too, until it was pointed out to me that the Australian Open he won was on like the other side of Australia or something that has no correlation to like Melbourne and places like that.
Okay, well, screw that, I guess then. I'm still betting Harold Varner, but
hey,
he has been playing better.
In the modeling, he does rate out number 13th. Weirdly, Noren and Mitchell rate out 8th and 9th in the short-term stats.
I mean, Alex Noren is very consistent, up there in top 20 in putting and short game. And again, I mean, very much just like a Brad Snedeker type of player. It wouldn't shock me to see him win this week, I guess. It shocked me a little bit, but at 8 and 900, I mean, it's fine. You can play him. He probably won't even be that chalky just because he's more expensive than all the guys we just listed off. So, again, a lot of this is going to come down to ownership projections this week, like it usually does. But I'll play Noren if he's projecting, like for half the ownership of a guy like Glover or Snedeker. I think that's completely fine. I mean, I like Alex Noren. He's super consistent. Just needs to have like a decent week with his approach. We know he can certainly get it done around the greens and on the greens. So
yeah, and if that comes into it, although with the way that these greens are constructed, without much rough around the green side, that there's going to be a lot of roll, a lot of putting from off the greens, or you can really take any sort of approach that you want. Like I was looking at someone, that's another kind of feather in the cap of someone like Scott Stallings. Stallings has gained on approach in 11 in his last 12 events. It's just he stopped being able to drive the ball. Still can't chip, but he's never been able to chip. But maybe this is a place where he could get that going. I don't know. Interesting to me to see him up there and at his price point. Because now that Danny Willett's not playing at $7,900, I need to put my money somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe I should just hold on to my money. What do you think about that?
I mean, that's probably what a lot of people should do this week, but it's too fun not to dive into these events. So, I mean, Stallings, I'd like him more as a DFS play than a bet, obviously,
Yeah.
but there could be something to that. Just, again, I think approach and putting is going to be a big thing. I think that the lack of rough around the greens and around the fairways is just going to make chipping a little bit easier for guys like Stallings. In theory, if the greens play like 15 on the stimp or something, then I mean, Stallings is probably just as fucked as the next guy. But I can definitely get behind that. He's playing well. I'll play Doc Redmond from this range just because I always play him, and the putter is working for him. So if he can have a little bit of an uptick, I think it's a similar situation. Around the green is his Achilles heel too. So very much in the Stallings mode this week. It could help him, just the style of course. We're spitballing here, but Stallings has been way more consistent over, if we're being honest, than Redmond lately. So at the very least, I like it as like a 2% play. Those are the kind of guys, again, in this field, like you should just be trying to feel uncomfortable with some of the guys this week that you're playing. And Stallings like fits that to a T. So
$7,000 range. I don't think we need to name everyone in here because there's some names like if we go to the very bottom here, there are guys like I legit don't know. No, I know them, but they're not good by any means. Here are the ones I have stars next to already. Luke List, who holds the course record at this course. I don't know if I can get there. Just poor Luke.
Does he seriously?
Yeah, he does. Luke List. Yeah, Luke List is 79. I like Rafa Cabrera-Bello. I am not alone in that at $7,800. I actually kind of like Matthew Neesmith. He's from the area. Has not been putting well whatsoever, but after just decimating people at the Charles Schwab, losing 3.5 strokes on approach, after gaining pretty consistently with his irons for the better part of the year, everyone jumped off, and he missed the cut at Memorial. Yes, but he gained almost 4 strokes on approach in 2 rounds. The rest of his game was god-awful, like really, really bad. But if this is going to be at least he has the irons part figured out. If he can just start, maybe because he's from this part of the country, maybe he knows the greens a little bit. But it seems like everyone's just done with Matthew Neesmith. And he was a guy that was pretty popular earlier on in the year. So I don't hate him at this spot. I don't love him, but he's just someone whose numbers kind of like popped out to me. Like everyone's going to play Vince Whaley. Maybe they should because he's been amazing. But if you did want to pivot off of him, like Neesmith is right there. Even Martin Laird. Maybe this is just one of those years where like Stuart Sink got the swing season win. He's an old man. And then he gets the win coming back over again. So if guys are like Cantlay just doubled up from the swing season, maybe it's time for Party Marty to double up as well. He is first in this field in approach over the past 12 rounds.
I mean, if you're playing big GPPs this week, like I know everyone, Vince Whaley was the guy last week and he paid off at the min price. And people were making fun of other people. Oh, you can't believe you played 10% on Vince Whaley. And then he went and finished T20. I'm 100% for the Whaley fade this week. And it's not even the price thing. It's just the type of field we have and the type of event we have. I mean,
that is my initial inclination about it as well. But the guy has made 9 straight cuts in good events. And like, I don't know if his name wasn't Vince Whaley and he was like a known scrub and you just made him like, what's really the difference between him and Lucas Glover at this point, honestly, except for Whaley's way more consistent?
Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much nothing. I mean, I guess you could dive into the stats and be like, well, Lucas Glover is a better ball striker or something, but Whaley's clearly playing with confidence. It's just one of those things where we know for certain he's going to be the most popular play in this range. Like, I feel very confident in saying that. And you do look at his performance. He's doing like everything okay. He's not doing anything great. So maybe that's a good thing, but maybe it's also a bad thing where if he just starts to fade a little bit on the greens, like everything fades. And even if he just becomes T40 this week, because again, this isn't a player who we've seen pop with a T10 yet. So there's more to come from Vince Whaley, or we've already seen the top here with the T20. And I'm more of the opinion that you've probably seen the top and maybe he does come T25 again, but I think there's players in this range, and you brought one up in Neesmith. They have a much better chance of grabbing a top 10, or maybe not a much better chance, but their top end is better. We've seen Matthew Neesmith grab like 7 strokes on approach. I'll go with that. I'll go with the guys who are, crazy variants, but, offer slightly better upside, especially in an event like this. So yeah, this is what I mean by feeling uncomfortable. There's really nobody here that you're going to feel comfortable pivoting off of Whaley because Whaley's playing well. He's consistent. He's still relatively cheap considering he tops 30s every week, but I still think there's better upside with a lot of these names. And Neesmith would probably be, Sepp Strack is a similar type player. He can just go nuts, tee to green for a week or something. So that's how I'm playing it. I like rolling the dice in these situations, especially with these new type of events with the weaker fields. So
how about a guy no one is going to be using in this range? He's made 7 of 8 cuts since the Players Championship. He's been gaining on approach in each of his past 4, gains a ton around the greens. We know he can get hot with the putters. Can he drive the ball well enough to stay afloat It's Pat Perez, desert golf specialist, Pat Perez.
Ooh, Pat Perez. I thought you were going to go JD Post in there, but Perez has been playing pretty good. Yeah. Again, if I like guys like Snedeker and I brought up Kisner, although now that you mentioned he lost like 10 strokes on approach or whatever his last time out, I might not play him. But I mean, Pat Perez fits this type of golfer to a T. You know, he's for the fact that he doesn't hit it very long. Again, you see Pat Perez pop up sometimes with these longer courses too. He's not intimidated by playing these longer courses, which I kind of really just respect about Pat Perez. He knows his style of game. He's very, consistent when he gets in these zones, kind of with the putter in the short game. So yeah, if you're not going to go after the elite ball striking, why not go after Pat Perez, who could just light it up on the greens here? Maybe he gets comfortable just putting in these type areas. Again, I'm all for it. I'm all for targeting these guys in this range because I think, again, I can say confidently Whaley will be the guy with the highest ownership. And even if it's not like a huge discrepancy, although I do think Pat Perez will be like 2% owned, I'm okay pivoting to guys like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be either Whaley or Rafa would be my two guesses at who are they're going to be like 20 something, 18 to 22% owned a piece, thus leaving everyone else pretty unowned in the same territory. Going down, I like Lipsky at $7,400, a guy who's popped over in the Middle East. He's only $7,400. He won in Texas on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. I think it's a pretty decent price. And after that, man, you can talk me into like a bunch of these losers. Like,
okay,
Bramlett.
I'm going to talk you into a couple guys.
You got Bramlett at 71. I'm going to play. I made the bets on them as well, but I'm going to play Davis Thompson at $7,200. I didn't even see what John Pack's price is. John Pack is $6,900. I'm going to be playing that too.
Okay. Davis Thompson, obviously I can get behind at 7,200. It's funny you bring up Lipsky. Someone asked me about him today, and I don't even know. It was like the most random thing. And I looked at, I'm like, I don't know why David Lipsky's 7,400. But then you look around, and like Lipsky does have win on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's won over in Europe. Like he's a pretty good golfer. And you look at the other players there, you're like, do you really want to play Benny Ann at this point? No is the answer to that. I guess you could make a case for Seamus Power, but like Lipsky and Seamus Power are basically the same kind of golfer, and Lipsky might even have like better upside. So yeah, I can kind of get behind a guy like that this week if we're being honest. And the setup, you're right. I mean, he has played well over in the Middle East in courses like this. I think Tom Lewis is kind of interesting. He's been playing like crap lately though, so I'd probably just stay off there. I don't even really hate Lipsky in that range now that I've kind of thought about it a little bit. So Davis Thompson, we mentioned, I like it. I'm going to bring up a name, and I really like this player this week. I bet him outright. I think he's going to have a legit shot to win.
Can I guess?
Norlander.
Oh, I thought you were going to say my guy, Satoshi Kodaira, who's playing good golf right now.
That's not bad either. I don't mind that. Kind of a similar player to Norlander. Well, yeah, a little bit similar. They get hot with their irons. They're not super long off the tee. But Norlander, he's done very well at Sea Island, another Fazio design. He's actually played pretty well at Wells Fargo too. Another event in this course. Or in this area, played well at Farmers early in the year, a really long design, got a T2 there. I think Norlander showed up with his irons a little bit. He was crap last week, but good at the Colonial. He's just a player who just pops. Like he gets confident on the greens. And, again, I think these flat greens and flat course will help a guy like him. His chipping could definitely let him down, but he can get hot with the putter, which is really all you have to do here. So I really like Norlander this week. He's a complete boomer bust. He's either going to be like top 10 or just like, he'll shoot 77 on Monday or Thursday. So I really like him in this range though. I think this is a good setup for him.
I'm just looking at it now. Since coming 26th at Pebble Beach, Norlander doesn't have a finish better than 48th in 12 starts.
But you gained 4 strokes under approach at Colonial. Pat.
That's true. That is true. I'm just looking at Kodaira. Past 2 starts, Byron Nelson, Wells Fargo, 13th, 11th. Here we go.
Yeah. No, and look, kind of a similar type of player too, right? And his win, Pat, where'd it come? Well, you know where his win came because it made you a ton of money.
Oh, I remember.
Came in South Carolina. So I'm going to add him. I'm going to add Kodaira. How do you pronounce it? I can't remember.
Satoshi Kodaira. You'd be surprised that I learned how to pronounce that pretty quickly.
I'm surprised you don't have like a picture of him hanging in your...
Kodaira 125. I was now I'm looking to go bet this guy.
I'll definitely add him.
150 to 1. All right. So you're going to take the place of Willett here. 150 to 1 with the each way. There we go. Place bet.
No, it's definitely an each way bet. We're going to get like the top 8 or whatever, or top 5, whatever is available to you. But I like it, man. I mean, this is the type of event you've got to have at least a couple 150 to 1 odd guys on your card here.
Well, it would be a good time to have DraftKings Sportsbook. It's not available to me. It's 225 to 1 at DraftKings Sportsbook this week.
Yeah. DraftKings putting out some big numbers on outright guys.
Yeah, well, Davis Thompson's 300 to 1. That's a good number.
I'm saying, man.
I bet him at 150, and I thought it was like, oh, that's not bad. Do you have any faith in Duffner? Can he putt?
Okay, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been playing okay. The ball striking's really good, but the guy's putting is like an abomination. He's lost in 6 straight. And the one time he gained, he missed the cut, and he gained 0.3 strokes putting. And when it gets, he's sort of pulling the Ben Ann, but without the like consistent ball striking over and over. Like when it's bad, it's really bad, and when it's like okay, when it's like normal, it's like still kind of bad.
Yeah, this probably isn't like the type of course I'd love for Duffner. With like smallish greens, and he's got to play those little run up shots, which I don't know are really his bread and butter. Anyways, he kind of just likes to hit darts into the green and really get the irons going. I just don't see it. I mean, he's playing okay, but like you said, the putter. It's just not there. So I'd rather take a shot with, a couple of guys I've already named there rather than Duff, man.
No, I was just looking at James Hahn, my guy, James. Hahn! He's missed 5 straight cuts. That's not great. Bramlett, that came 7th at the Byron Nelson.
Dude, that's like really good form for James Hahn. That's what we need. We need like 10 straight made cuts, and then he just pops in, grabs the win, and goes and, does nothing for a year. Bramlett has played well recently. Like he struck the ball well. Even if you look at the Charles Schwab, I mean, he opened with a 69 and then he shot 77. So he just had one blow up round. I'd be fine going back to him. I mean, he's shown like he can pop tee to green. I said, I mean, I like the 2 guys we kind of brought up. But.
You know who's a genius? Pat Mayo, because I played Danny Lee last week in a few lineups. I think he was plus 17 or something. That's usually a time to get back on Danny Lee, though.
Did he withdraw? Oh, no, he actually... Yeah, what's funny about Danny Lee at the Memorial? I went really heavy on him there one year, and then I think he tweeted out, he's like, this is the toughest course I've ever played. Ha, 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 or something crazy like that, because he's Danny Lee. So I learned my lesson never to play Danny Lee at the Memorial. I should have DM'd you that last week, I guess. But yeah, it could be a time. He's been all over the place, man. Like Danny Lee is just the type of guy who will do that. Just pop up with a top 10 right after a bad event like that.
Yeah, he's gone miscut 21st, miscut 40th, miscut. So first maybe for Danny Lee this week?
Maybe. I don't think so.
All right.
But you never know.
6 guy, your boy Roger Sloan's up there. You got all Mark Hubbard? My guy Hubbard. All right, 6Ks. John Pack, Patty Harrington?
Oh, man.
He's someone who actually has played well this year in the Middle East. He just came 4th at a major.
Well, at Kiowa. I mean, Kiowa's, it's pretty close to where we're playing this week. It's in the same state, obviously. So, course correlation wise, there's probably something there, I guess. Sure. I would consider Harrington, I guess. I don't love it, but I don't love any of these players. So why not? A dude who, just saw another like 50-year-old win, just came T4 at a major championship. I mean, why not, man?
Oh my God. I just ran the numbers. Guess who came out 16th in the modeling? This is where
Patty?
we're at. No, he's 3rd in approach over the past 12 rounds in this field. 11th out of the sand, proximity from beyond 200 yards, 20th. Who is it?
I think I know what you're talking about. Is it Luke Donald?
It's Luke Donald.
It is Luke Donald. I was right.
What am I doing? What is this?
I kind of like it. I kind of like it. 13th at the Byron Nelson. That was a long course too, Pat. Oh, I am.
What was the Byron Nelson long?
It was like 7,500 yards, man.
That was Craig Ranch, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like Valspar is a long course too.
I'm 100% betting Luke Donald this week.
Holy shit. He's 200 to 1. The fact that he's only 200 to 1 and not 2,000 to 1 is
no, I know.
Is really an
You could
indictment
probably-
here.
I'm gonna look for a bigger number on that. I'm not kidding when I say I really like that.
All right, there's two. I checked one other place, 250 to 1. All right, we're getting
I'm gonna
better
go
now.
broke by the end of this show. I really like that play. What did he
Listen
gain
to
on
yourself.
We have to look more into this. What did he gain on approaches last start?
8.1 strokes on approach at Byron Nelson.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit. He's really hitting his irons well here.
Yeah, he was 8.1 at Byron Nelson. He missed the cut at Wells Fargo, but was plus 1.4 in those 2 rounds. He was 3.2 at Valspar. You know he's going to chip well, and maybe
Yes.
you can get lightning in a bottle. He's actually gained in 2 consecutive events on the greens. He had lost strokes putting in like 15 straight events somehow. And from my recollection, in following golf my entire life, Luke Donald might be one of the best putters of my lifetime.
Yeah, just out of recollection. It's basically just got to number 1 in the world because of how good a putter he was. I'm not kidding around. Like I think this potentially, if it plays the way we think, the shorter hitters get a bit of roll, and stuff like that. Again, I go back to Pinehurst. Who'd you see up there in the leaderboard? A guy like Eric Compton, Snedeker was top 10.
Brendan Todd, Patrick Reed. I think Luke Donald was actually up there as well. Martin Keimer,
Probably.
another short hitter.
Yeah, it's not like Keimer's a bomber at all, right? So I'm serious when I say I like this. Like this is legitimately might be my favorite bomb of the week, and I like Norlander as a bomb, but you could probably get double the odds on Luke Donald. So
or more.
I'm definitely playing Luke Donald. That was a great call by you. All credit to you.
No,
when he finishes.
Yeah, when he finishes 100 and when he finishes withdraw after shooting 91 in the first round, you can credit old Pat Mayo with that one. Oh fuck. Campos, Brown. Is there anyone from down here like you don't hate? Like honestly, is Campos the best player?
Well, in terms of just like recent form, maybe.
It is. Here's a geography question because I'm not quite sure about the layout of the United States. Is South Carolina in Puerto Rico?
Oh my God, dude! Don't ask me geography questions.
That's not a real question, but the answer is no to that question. No, the state of South Carolina is not in Puerto Rico. It's not in Puerto Rico. Yeah, it's not.
I thought you asked if Puerto Rico was a part of South Carolina. Okay, I heard it wrong.
I'm sorry. No, and maybe I'll rephrase that question, Jeff. I'm going to ask you a geography question here. Is South Carolina an island in the Caribbean?
Yes.
It is? Okay, good. Then we can probably play Campos. If not, it might be somewhat troublesome.
No, yeah, I get your point. It's not Campos's homeland or whatever. So we probably shouldn't play him. Didn't he make a couple? No, never mind. Okay. For some reason I had some recollection that Campos had made a cut recently.
No, that would be false. He made a cut.
Yeah,
he made a cut at Valero the week after he thought he had made the putt to tie Joel Damon.
Right. That's where I have Campos in my mind from the Joel Damon win. Okay. Just cut that segment out. That was embarrassing.
Like you think that's not going to be the Twitter clip for this show.
Right. Yeah.
He played well in Puerto Rico. He played well in Dominican Republic. The Corrales course is a Fazio course, by the way. It's a really long course, weirdly enough. It's not coastal though.
Right.
It is coastal. This is not coastal.
But it is longer, like you said. Like his course, a lot of his designs seem to play longer, but like not long. So I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a theme to follow this week. Sean O'Hare is actually playing a little bit better. So I know he's my guy and it's like a huge bias, but I think you actually, if you're going down here, I would legitimately, that's who I would go to. So you can take that with a grain of salt, since if he makes a cut, I usually get overly excited about him, but I don't really have anyone else to talk about in this range except him. Maybe one other dude to consider, Sebastian Kaplan.
Oh yeah.
At 6,300. Can get hot with the putter. I can't even remember why I liked him. Oh yeah, he was in contention at one event.
Wasn't it Pebble Beach earlier this year?
Yeah. He's just a guy who can get hot with the putter a little bit. He's got a little bit of length off the tee. He did gain a couple strokes on his approach, I think, his last couple times out. He just hasn't been putting well at all. So Kaplan's a guy who can pop. Again, really just probably don't go down in this range, but yeah, he's been like okay-ish, I guess.
That's the nicest thing we can say about anyone here. Yeah. Sung Kang has made 3 cuts in a row.
Kang could definitely pop with the putter too. So
Yeah.
What's his price though?
He's 68, 69.
Yeah, so a bit higher. I mean, again, O'Hare would be like probably the last guy I'd consider. I might throw a couple bucks on Kaplan at like 500 to 1, but
Man, poor Shez Reavie is 6,800 in this tournament.
he's really gone to the crapper, hasn't he? Like,
yeah. I feel like Bob Shelton was doing something on the weekend at Memorial. He made the cut. I remember that. He came 32nd, all chipping and putting. Okay, that makes sense. Man, I don't know what to do down here, to be perfectly honest with you. I wish. You know who rates third in all stats? Actually, Roger Sloan ranks 20th. Hank Lebioda over the past 12 rounds at $6,900 ranks third. You want to talk about a guy who can't putt? It's him, but he's been putting lately.
Yeah, he's played okay. 3 cuts in a row. Yeah, a couple top 20s actually. That's like in this field. I mean,
that's something.
I get that's really is something. I mean, again, I think the main thing of the 6K range is there are actual plays here that we can pick out here. I mean, with like guys like Donald, even Kang, and Lebioda, but I just like once you go under 6,800, I mean, it just dries up really fast. So that's basically the theme of the week. I think it's absolutely fine though. I mean, some of these guys can definitely pop. Lebioda actually looks a little bit, if we're being honest, he looks pretty underpriced. I mean, you've got guys like, Lee Hubbard up there at 7K. I mean, he's played better than those 3 over the last month. So yeah, Lebioda definitely in play for me.
Yeah. The one that we didn't talk about was Wilco Niember, whose name I know I'm mispronouncing. What's that?
Wilco, you don't go to, I can't remember the line. Anyways, yeah, Wilco. Go ahead.
Is Wilco like a Canadian only band, or is that like something that people know?
No, people know in the States, I think.
You think?
Some people.
Anyway, it's a Canadian band if people don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But, I mean, he's, 21? He's won on the Challenger Tour. He won on the Challenger Tour not that long ago. It seems like he's going to be a player. It seems like Higo is, much farther evolved. I mean, Higo has 3 European Tour wins. He has Sunshine Tour Championship wins. He won on the mini tours. Like, he's won at every level. And Higo's only 22. He's only like a year older than him, but he seems so much more advanced in where his game is at. But maybe this is just, again, it's one of these plays where just take a guy who you think is talented, like Pack and like Thompson. Obviously, those guys are more proven at a collegiate level, but it's not like Wilco was going to South Dakota State or something. He was just grinding Sunshine Tour.
No, I know, right?
And what's better?
I mean,
what's more? I honestly, I have no idea. Maybe you can throw this into the comment section as well. Like, what's more impressive? Like being the best player in the SEC and winning, and maybe like doing really well and winning a bunch of NCAA events, or like competing week in and week out on the Sunshine Tour? I actually don't know what the answer to that question is.
Yeah, and especially when it pertains to like a PGA event, right? I mean, what sets you up better for success? I'd argue probably the NCAA does. Because again, and
I don't know. Like it's almost the same question as like, what's better to like if you're looking at tape and going to scout, almost like the Luka Doncic thing, where is it better that he was 18 and playing in EuroLeague at a high level, or would it have been better off if he was just dominating guys in the NCAA? I would have to say that playing with like men is probably the best way you'd want to go about it instead of playing with kids.
Yeah, I was just going to say from like a coming onto the PGA Tour perspective, you're probably getting maybe a little bit better exposure to what it's like just on the PGA courses and stuff like that. It just always seems to happen with golf. We get players come over from overseas and they just takes adjustment. But I definitely think like from a professional standpoint, I mean, this guy's, like you said, he's been grinding for a couple of years now in the pro ranks. My thing with Wilco is I just wish he was like $500 cheaper, because it's really tough for me to click him with some of the guys around him. And I know like there's not studs around him or something, but still there's legitimate like PGA players and even like good Korn Ferry Tour players. Right. So yeah, you could do it. I feel like he's a little bit overpriced for the chance you're taking there, but yeah, it's an interesting argument. I mean, I just feel like every time we see these names pop up, they just always let us down with, okay, like he's obviously talented. We know he's going to be a player at some point, but then they come over in these PGA events and it's just kind of like, they either missed the cut or they're like T50 or something. So
how dare you besmirch Dimension Data Pro-Am winner Wilco Niember? How dare you? He beat Jaco Van Ziel in that tournament. Remember the putter that Jaco Van Ziel would use, that little stub putter?
the little training putter because he just couldn't. He was putting so badly. He just went to like the training aid or something. Crazy.
I'll probably end up playing this guy. Not gonna lie to you. Why not? It's one of those weeks. So I got like Kadira, Davis Thompson, John Pack, Luke Donald, Harrington, Lebiota. It's gonna be a fucking great week. Very profitable.
I'm very excited about all the money we're gonna win on Luke Donald this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Feel like I should just bet all these guys. Oh, I know that's right. I didn't bet Luke Donald during the show, right? So I have to go bet Luke Donald now.
I have no idea what's going on over there. You bet someone during the show, but I can't remember who it was.
Someone's so good.
It's Kadira.
It was Kadira. That's right. Yeah. At what did I say? I got him at 150. Yeah, 100.
I'm gonna go searching for a number on Luke Donald.
250 is the best I could find right now. All right, let's get to the best plays lineup, which might be impossible.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very excited for that this week.
It finally crapped out last week. It just missed the money despite being a 4 of 6. Keegan and Grio really let us down this week.
So how many weeks in a row did you cash with them?
I think I cashed 4 weeks in a row.
That's pretty good, man.
It's better than my normal lineup, so.
Yeah, I know. That's just better than mine, too.
So when we talk about the best plays here, is it completely balanced with like 6 guys that aren't horrible? Or do we do Lebiota and I'm just going to say Danny, like Kadira and Patty Harrington, like those 3 guys, and then try to jam in 3 good guys?
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you start with Dustin, I guess we have to like skip the 9K range kind of and try and go heavy in the 8K range.
But what if we just start with Hatton? Like starting with Hatton saves you $1,200. That gives you $8,000 per player. So who is your favorite of those low end guys, do you think? Like who do you think, like if we talked about like the best plays, not necessarily your favorite play, but like safe best play from down there, do we think it's Kadira?
I would say it's either Kadira or Lebiota. I mean,
Harrington?
That's just too much variance for like to be considered a.
Hey, Harrington has made 9 of 14 cuts this year. I'll have you know.
Has he?
Yeah. John Pack, 1 of 1.
I guess he has. I would say it's Kadira or Lebiota.
Kadira, Lebiota, and the other name that I'll throw out to you here, he had made 9 of 10 cuts. But now he's missed 3 in a row. And it's my guy, Johnny Question Marks. He's down here too, but he's been playing like crap.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with Lebiota. We'll go Hatton and Lebiota. Now we have $8,200. Is there anyone else in that like low sevens that we feel good about? Lipsky? Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we can put Lipsky in like a.
How about Rafa Cabrera?
Okay. It's. I was just about to say, like, if we're doing the legit, like, play the good plays, we should have to play Whaley, don't we?
Yeah, Whaley and Rafa. So that leaves
we have
us
to play Rafa.
I think that Rafa is one of the best plays in the field for his price. Like, why is Kisner 87 and he's 78?
Yeah. Okay. No, I can get behind Rafa. Okay, that's fair. That's true. He's definitely a little bit too cheap. Okay, let's play Rafa and Whaley. What does that leave us with?
So that leaves us with $8,700. So we can go like Glover, Varner if we wanted to, or we can try to find someone else like Nick Taylor, Wawrinski, or Lipsky, and then kind of go back up and grab a Fitzpatrick or an English type player. If not, we're stuck. That's sort of the 2v2 here. Do you want a higher end guy with a middling guy or 2 like slightly above middling guys?
Can we do Noren and Snedeker?
No. Yeah, I think that they fit. Noren and Snedeker. Yeah, they fit actually with $100 left over. Do you feel that good about Snedeker?
I do kind of feel him in this course. I mean,
he's made 5 cuts in a row. That actually surprises me.
I know. Yeah. And like 2 of them have been top 20s, the last 3. So that's just one. That's a combo. All
right. So I think that works. So
yeah. I mean, I think if we don't do that, like, what about Poulter?
Well, Poulter's at 92, so then we'd have to go like Poulter and Luke List or something.
Neesmith? I guess we can't really put Neesmith because he's just been so volatile.
I mean, List has missed more cuts than he's made. So
yeah, if we play English, what does that leave us with? We have to dip back down to like Kadira. I guess that's fine.
If we play English, who's Anderkurst, by the way, that does make him super safe. But it would leave us with 75. Yeah, we could play Lipsky, or we could play Lipsky. I mean, I was going to say Van Rooyen, but he's been so bad. Yeah, Kadira. If we played Kadira, we could play Fitzpatrick.
I mean, I don't hate Fitzpatrick this week from a leverage standpoint or whatever, ownership.
I mean, he's also one of the best players in this field. Let's not forget.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah, we could do that. We could go Hatton, Lebiota, Rafa, Whaley, Fitzpatrick, and Kadira. That uses all of our salary cap. When I think of play the best plays lineup, this is not it. But I don't know if you can construct a good plays lineup this week.
You played JJ Henry and Dustin Johnson.
That's true. I wish there were it's funny because we've had, I don't want to say free squares because there's always so much volatility, but the people that talked themselves out of Whaley at $6,100 2 weeks ago and talked themselves out of Stanley last week. I just don't get it. There's a difference. And I understand hey, these guys are going to be 20% owned. I'm not going to play them because I understand the game theory behind that. That makes a lot of sense. These are highly volatile players. They are low $6,000 players, generally for a reason. But it felt like they were just both wildly mispriced. I played them both weeks. And I've had two of my better weeks in a row because I didn't do the stupid thing of this guy's clearly the best value of anyone within $1,000. I'm just not going to play him because everyone else thinks that he's good. Yeah, there's a reason everyone thinks he's good because he is good. That doesn't mean he's guaranteed to make the cut or do well, but I've tried to get out of talking myself off of, there's just so much more you can do. A $6,100 chalk guy isn't great. But if you are confident in that $6,100 chalk guy, him being $6,100 means you can do anything else you want to do with your lineup. It's not like you're going to be duped.
No. And to that point, the guy at 6,100, you basically just need him to make the cut and not be completely god awful on the weekend. So it's just a much easier square to hit than a guy who is chalky in the top range and you need things to go perfect on the weekend even if he makes the cut. So I'm in complete agreement. I should have played Stanley last week and I didn't. So but I regret it for basically the reason you just threw out.
Well, the people that sent me screenshots of them winning GPPs, Kyle Stanley was in all of those lineups. He came T34 at $6,100.
Especially in a week like last week where it was lower scoring, you didn't have as many birdies out there. Again, a grinder like Kyle Stanley. So you said it. These guys aren't just slightly mispriced; they're significantly mispriced, right? So you're not just gaining a small edge where you can maybe make up for it with leverage, or you can make that argument. It's a big thing, to have a guy who's $800, probably cheaper than he should be, right? So, which is what we've had 2 weeks in a row. It's weird. We haven't had that for a while. So now we had it a couple weeks in a row.
I have one for
I don't really know what to do. I kind of like my Snedeker and Noren pick here. I'm not going to lie.
You would prefer Snedeker and Noren over Kadira and Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
I mean,
I don't know if that's the correct take. That's just my take.
I just got a text from Cuss. I don't know what's going on, but the first line of it just says that Pringles don't suck. Lay's stacks are clearly better, though. Does anyone think that? This is what I deal with. It's like a mental warfare going on my phone when it's just looking at me. Just crazy shit from Cust coming in 24 hours a day. I have a guy at $6,100 that you can play this week. He's certainly not safe like Kyle Stanley was, and the numbers don't point to him. But he has made 4 of 6 cuts, and he missed the cut on the number when I played him at Byron Nelson. And he gained ball striking. He just couldn't putt or chip that week. But it's Bo Van Pelt who's sneakily playing okay.
You brought Bo Van Pelt up the last time.
He missed the cut on the number last time.
No, I like Bo Van Pelt. He's super talented. I want to say he's from this part of he's from Georgia or something. I don't know.
Are you only making that up because his name is Bo?
I guess.
Also, whatever happened to Boo Weekly?
Oh, good question, dude. He just finally retired and went fishing?
I guess so. That's all he ever wanted. Let's see here. Professional.
There's a lot of names like that. The Real Deal, George McNeil.
Oh, I forgot about The Real Deal. No, Bo Van Pelt is from Richmond, Indiana.
Okay, well.
He's 46 years old. BVP. They're running these wrestling documentaries on A&E, which are tremendous, by the way. I've been saving up the Bret Hart one. I could use an RVD one. Need to know more about that guy. See what he's up to. Smoking a lot of weed, I think.
Yeah. I watched watched something on him in some kind of wrestling show I think he was still wrestling from a while ago, but he maybe had some major injury. But guy's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's out there doing crazy stuff off the top rope every night.
For sure. His body's probably not in great shape. Very flexible,
No,
that Rob Van
absolutely.
Dam.
There's no chance.
In honor of RVD, I'll play BVP in a few laps. Like if you want to play Dustin or Brooks, and I mean, you can use Bo Van Pelt. We can do a Bo Van Pelt versus Sean O'Hare wager.
Oh, okay.
more DraftKings points. Bo Van Pelt versus who do we want to go? $25 on that?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Sean
O'Hare will probably come like T30 and Van Pelt will get more birdies and win at like T60. That's probably what'll happen.
Perfect. Listen, but they're both making the cut. We both come out winners in this end.
Okay, let's do it.
How about that? Okay. How about it's just a cut bet? If they both make the cut, it's a push. If they both miss the cut, it's a push. I think Bo Van Pelt is going to make the cut this week.
Okay, I mean, I think O'Hare's going to make the cut, so let's go.
There we go. So we'll play
I like it.
Cut versus non-cut.
Easy for us to track. Then we don't have to.
Then we won't forget about it. It'll be good to go. Playing the Pat Mayo Experience, DraftKings Listeners League. Link is in the description. FantasyNational.com/Mayo for 20% off. What do you got going on this week, by the way?
No, just a lot of the same. I mean, check me out, DK Nation, with the PGA cheat sheet, obviously, for the Palmetto Championship. But you can check out the DraftKings Dream Stream on their YouTube channel as well. We do golf shows 3 p.m. Eastern every day, just in between like the Madden Sims and stuff. So just answering Q&A and stuff like that. But you can also just give me a follow at the Fantasy Grind on Twitter. Really appreciate that. Always tweeting out generally the links and stuff for that. And all of my bets out tomorrow will definitely include Luke Donald, which we're going to pay off an entire house on this week, Pat. So you can pay off your new studio.
I can get 200 to 1, 200 to 1, and 250 to 1. Those are the three numbers that I'm seeing that I have the ability to wager on. Do you think it's worth it to bet the 200 to 1 if I can get the each way, as opposed to betting maybe I'll bet the 250 to 1 outright, and I'll try to find a top 20 on that same site because maybe it's a bit more generous.
I mean, I'm making this into a bit of a joke, but like legitimately, if you can find some big odds on Luke Donald top 20, like I will be looking for that as well. I think it's a great bet. He's smashing his irons, and as we mentioned, I mean, this is a player who at one point was the best putter in the world. So if the course plays as we've sort of laid it out, I think it could be an opportunity. Again, one thing, Luke Donald doesn't hit it far off the tee, and he can get inaccurate, but with these waste areas and there's no rough, I really think it benefits a guy like that more than it's going to do the Bombers. So we'll see how it works out, but I'm kind of excited, and all credit to you, like I said.
Yeah, thank you very much. That'll be very fun when this blows up in my face. I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at the PME for a full breakdown of the ownership and the weather and what's going on. Subscribe to the Mayo Media newsletter. I'll have the betting show on Wednesday for the podcast listeners on the audio feeds. That will be over on the DFS Mix. You can find the link in the description of this pod in video if you want to listen to it that way. Video will be up on Mayo Media Network not Mayo Media Network.com on YouTube. Mayo Media Network's channel, where you're probably watching this right now. Subscribe if you haven't, by the way. And then if you leave the review on the Mix, 5 stars, Twitter handle, email address, you're in a draw for one of $33 prizes. If you have PayPal, just PayPal you some money. Thanks for the reviews, pal. U.S. Open is going to be far more in-depth and fun than this tournament, although it doesn't mean you can't win money at this tournament either. They're all 20 to 1 is 20 to 1, 100 to 1 is 100 to 1, and you're probably more likely to get a 100 to 1 winner this week than you are at the U.S. Open, so try to have some fun with it, okay? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!